What's going on, everyone? In today's BookMine video, both Victor Gagos and I are going to do some live BookMine sourcing. We're going to buy 10 books for under $10 that are easily going to make you over $100 profit. Before we get into it, what's going on, Victor?
What's up, Joji? Just excited to be here again. It's been a couple of days and ready to hit this. Let's go.
All right, everybody, we're over here on the BookMine dashboard. And like I mentioned, we're going to be buying 10 books for under $10 that we can make over $100 profit in total. So over $10 profit per book. And Victor, why is it that we're going to be focusing on 10 books? What do we always tell everybody?
Yeah, we tell everyone to, your goal every day should be at least to source 10 books a day. Because if you're able to source 10 books a day, you are actually a full-time book seller and could probably also make up to $100,000 in revenue. So that's what we tell everyone to do. And, it's everyone's goal to just to buy these 10 books.
So here we go. We're going to first go to the use price slider. So as I mentioned, we're going to try to go under $10. So I'm going to drag the slider up here all the way to 10. And remember that on BookMine, this price here that you see, what does that represent? Is that with shipping included, Victor?
That's with shipping included. So that's the price plus shipping. So there's no surprises here.
Yep. It's literally the all-in buy cost, $7.69 with shipping included. So a book truly under $10. Now, we're also, in this case, because we're focusing on books that are a little bit cheaper, we want to make sure that they're selling. So under the selling meter here, just remember that the closer that number gets to 10, the more quickly it's selling. And the closer it gets to 1, then the less frequently it's selling. So we're actually just going to bump this up a little bit, Victor. We can go to 3 to 10. By the way, you guys can go ahead and copy and put these same exact filters in. And again, Victor and I spent about 10 minutes going through this. We both used the same filters, and we found 10 amazing books. So between both of us, it took about 15 or so minutes to find these amazing books we're about to show you. And even if you are not as experienced as Victor or I, and you're 5 times slower, you would be able to find these in about a 1 hour time period. So does that sound good, Victor? Ready to look at some of these?
Sounds great. And to kind of highlight this, we found 239 books that BookMine gave us, right? So we kind of just almost already cheating, right? We have these 239 books. We just clicked on the first 15, 20 books. We found 10 of them. And we're basically going to showcase those books right now. Yeah,
very, very high hit rate. Keep deals, keep a product finder, awesome tools that you can be using. But at the same time, you're looking at maybe 3 to 5 to 7%, right? When you're looking at those methods here, you're looking at 30, 40%, if not more than that. So you're looking at awesome done for you books. Obviously do the last 20%, but up to 239 books right now. And again, we update this, BookMine updates every hour. So you're going to be adding new books to this list every hour. So if you came back to this multiple times throughout the day, you're going to be golden. And Victor, we found 10 books that we didn't look at more than 30 books?
Yeah. We looked at the first page, I believe. Yeah.
We're talking about 200 unmined books, 200 untouched books, and we still found amazing stuff. So with that said, let's get right into the keeper graphs because we don't want this video to be too long. All right. So let's go and start with this Steck Vaughn book. You can actually see that the current use price of this book, according to Keep, is $5.69 plus shipping. So it's going to be right under $10. And this is a book. What does this say in the title here, Victor?
It's a GED test book. So a lot of people are getting this book to try to pass their GED to graduate high school.
Yep. And so we're looking at a book that gets, the lowest use price for a good majority of the year is well over $30. Okay. Again, you go buy it for under 10. Now, if we expand the historical selling data and just look at this book over the last few years, what I want you all to realize is this book has tons of peaks and tons of valleys. So what sort of, I know, Victor, you've actually purchased this book before, right?
Tons of times. Yeah, I buy this book every time it gets under $10 shipped. I'm buying this book and then selling it for $35 to $40, sold. So
yeah, one cool thing you can see with the used offer count is you guys see how it ebbs and flows. So this is a book that definitely goes up in offer count, goes down in offer count, and you also see, okay, this book frequently gets under $10. So an awesome book here, you could buy for under $10. I would say target price 35 to 40, maybe even a little bit higher than that, depending on if you're in the buy box. You can see how the buy box price was recently $39.97. Big deals. Look at this. Was in stock for about a couple weeks, went out of stock at $39.97. So awesome book there, Victor. You ready on the next one?
Let's do it.
Okay, next book that showed up here on BookMine, 75 Seashells. This looks like a children's book almost, but what you can see is today's purchase price is $2.70. Again, plus shipping, so it's probably right around $6 or $7. You can see the most recent sales of this book, the most recent sort of lowest use price this book has been in the 20s, but the buy box often getting up in the 30s. And again, just a book that if you look over the last few years, can kind of ebb and flow in price. Now, notice how the new price, Victor, here, back in 2021 got up to $800. It's kind of stretching our graph and making it hard to see. Now, if I get
Yeah.
rid of it, notice this: we've got sells in the 40s, we've got sells in the 40s, and so that'd be the goal, right? We're buying it at a dip, and this is a book that's often buy boxing in the $30, even when it's a little bit cheap.
So if you did the calculations, right, you buy this book for $6, selling it for 30, that is 100% ROI, right? You're
Yep.
making at least $6 back in profit just with
Right.
this book. Yeah.
And that's without you're not even touching the book, right? It's just
Right.
going right to a prep center, and prep center's putting a label on it. It's going right to Amazon FBA, boom, and as easy as that. How to build Model Railroad Benchwork, second edition. So this is a book again that can creep up in price into the 30s. Right now, it's sitting at again under $10, $3 plus shipping, so right around $7 all in ship. And take a look at this book. I mean, again, same sort of pattern with the used offer count ebbing and flowing up, going up and down. Same thing with the used price going up and down, but often getting in the 20s and 30s. And again, that buy box price can get significantly higher. Like at some points it's 70, and we're not necessarily telling you to sell for 70. The goal here should be again buying this book for right around 7, selling it for like $29, $32. I mean, that's the aim here, right, Victor? That's the goal.
That's exactly what I'd probably sell it at, right around $30. Yeah.
Right. So let's just go and take a look at the buyer price here. So we're looking at $334 plus $4 shipping, so $733 is the all-in buying cost. We're saying, target $30. There you go, guys. $10 profit on this book if you sell for 30, which
all over 100% ROI.
Yeah. So good book there. Next one here, the O'Brien book of Irish Tales and Legends. I mean, just look at this book. You can see it really pops December, January, February, March. It gets up into the $30 range. You can even see for this book when it was a little bit cheaper, still buy boxing at $30, $40. So even if you coming in at like 35, you're winning the buy box and you're likely to sell it. And you can again see that this is a book that has seasonality, also has the ability to pop up into the 30s, pretty frequently. So this is sitting at what would this be at, Victor? All in probably.
About $8, right?
Right about $8, right? Generally, the default's $3.99 shipping. So $8 again, selling this 30 to 35. For example, you can see this person level up bricks. They were at 39. They dropped down to 33.89 and sold out pretty much immediately.
So we get this question a lot. Should we buy it now? Like, even if I'm expected to sell it like in December, should I buy it now and should I send it in now, or what's going on? What would you tell them, Joji?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you have a target date in mind for when you want to sell it, but if you are truly selling the book at your target price that is completely reasonable and realistic from past historical selling data, then it's likely that you can sell the book well before that. Like, for example, your target price, you could have bought it now and your target price could have been 32 and you could just already sold out and you're like, what? I already sold it for 32? Like, that shouldn't really happen until January, February, but it happens all the time. So,
and the most negative thing that would happen is you send it into Amazon and pay 4 cents a month in storage. So you pay 4 cents for like the next 4 months and then sell it in December.
Right.
Right?
Storage fees are really not going to be too significant for any individual book. So that's why, as long as you're making good buys and even if you're letting it sit there 6 months, 8 months, 9 months, it's really, in total over a long period of time, maybe 30 cents on that book, maybe 35 cents. So if you're making a good margin on the book, it really is negligible. Last thing you want to do, Victor, is hold it at your house, create an eBay death pile, make your spouse not like it anymore.
Exactly.
Right? Just send an Amazon.
That's not going to work. Yeah, long term, that's not working.
This book is absolutely amazing. This book over the last 3 years has almost always been at least $30, if not $40 at the cheapest price, often buy boxing in the 50s. And what's amazing about this book is you kind of notice how the used price really started diving because its offer count started going up. But what do you notice about the offer count right now, Victor?
Oh, it's starting to drop back down again. And you notice there at the very, very end, the prices just started to peak back up because of the number of sellers have actually dropped.
Right. So this book is actually slightly more expensive, probably because someone just recently bought this book. But a great book that's I would price probably right around $50, right? The lowest used price was in the low 30s. Buy boxing, in the 50s. So I would say probably 45.
And that's the actual intrinsic value, right? Is right around $40 to $50 for that book because it's been like that the entire year for the vast majority of the year. Yeah.
Yep. And this is the gospel in every book of the Old Testament. Bibles, books about religion really do well. What do we got here? So this is Feeding and Care of the Horse, second edition. This doesn't look, this looks like an older book to me, right?
It does, yeah.
Yeah. Even though Amazon is still technically selling it new. But again, look how this used price ebbs and flows, goes up and down. You can see, a lot of people go like, oh, well, it's down here to $8. Is it going to recover? Well, look what happened last July, August, September of 2023.
Yeah.
It was selling in the 40s and 50s, and it got down there $8. and then boom, we're right back up to $45, right? Coming
It
into
actually looks like a really great January book. Like it really, I'm seeing it kind of really spike up there in January. Great book.
Yep. So you're buying this book for under $10, so 493 plus 399 shipping, so $9. The goal here is to sell probably for like 40 to 45 bucks. So again, you're making over $10 profit on that book. Awesome book, found with BookMine.
So much fun.
So much fun, right? And like I said, Victor and I
Crazy.
found all these books within like I wouldn't even say 15 minutes. So it was like
No.
probably 5 minutes.
Yeah.
We found these. So like you found part of that, some of them, I found the other ones. And again, I wouldn't say you should necessarily compare yourself to Victor or I yet, because we've been each individually sourcing for 6-7 years. We've got tons of experience. It's easy for us to spot a hebograph from a mile away. But I don't think you all are going to be 5 times slower than us. So that tells us that you could have found all these books easily within an hour and purchased them. Next book. The Sacred War, Nationalism and Revolution in the Divided Vietnam. What are you sort of seeing here for seasonality? Are you seeing 1 or 2 seasons, 3?
Yeah,
seasons?
I'm seeing 2 seasons, but they're kind of weird seasons, right? The end of August is one of them, and the other one's the middle of March.
Yep.
And I'm like, well, that's a weird pattern. But then when we clicked on the entire time for this book, actually it repeats. So it's every March for some reason this book really pops off.
Yep. So maybe there's a class that talks about it. But again, look how wild the used offer count swings, right? It's a very repeatable, very predictable pattern. And we're looking at a used offer count right now of 23. At the same day last year, we were at an offer count of 35. So we're at a lower offer count. And look what happened August, September. This book definitely spiked up into the $25 range and higher than that. And again, in March is when it really pops. It popped up into 50 or 60, right?
Right.
So here's a book that you're looking at, maybe buying 1 or 2 copies, maybe 3 copies if you're buying it for $6 or $7. You're probably aiming here at $29.99 in the August season, and then potentially even in March, going a little bit higher than that, $35 to $40. So really great book. So another book that you could make $10 profit on pretty easily. What comes to mind when you see this book here?
Silent Night. I mean, ding, 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 another Christmas book.
There you go.
So I'm having a ton of fun with Christmas books. So yeah, this is definitely one I would buy and also track, right? Keep this in my inventory from now on.
Yep. Every single year. Look at this.
Yeah.
And, every single year, this book reliably gets up into the 30s and 40s. So again, target price here would be to buy this book for right around $7 or $8. Potentially, you can even buy it on eBay. So make sure you also, when you're on BookMine, click the eBay link there as well. That'll show you some potential books, some potential offers on eBay as well.
Probably get a little bit cheaper on eBay.
Yeah, and so in this case, you're probably trying to will buy all in $6.60 shipping, sell for $30. That's the goal there. Now, one thing we should talk about, Victor, is remember to go wide rather than deep, right? Even if you find a great keepograph, probably don't buy a bunch of copies, but keep it relative to the listing, right? If you're seeing a book that only has a few sales ring drops during specific season when you are planning to sell, you should only buy maybe a copy or maybe 2 copies.
At max, a book like this, I'd probably only want to buy 2 copies. That would probably be my max. 1 to 2 is the most there.
Right. And so for this book, we're looking at $661, purchasing it on eBay. And again, target being like $29.99. This book was selling all day for over $30 and potentially even more than that. And $11 profit. So great Christmas books. Remember, BookMine is going to find you tons of seasonal books. Here's yet another one that we found, Journey to the Cross. And when is this book popping off, Victor?
I actually, when we were looking at it, I thought it was going to be a Christmas book, but it actually turns out to be an Easter book. So right around Easter time, this book has a really great season to it. So and the rest of the time, it's always a ton of fun finding these seasonal books, right? Because most of them $4 or $5 all year long, and then during its season is like $30 to $40, and those are great. Yeah.
Every Easter, this is sold out. It's been out of stock for the last 3 years. The last 3 years, it's gone out of stock. We're looking at an offer count right now of 22, which is right in line with where it was, last year. It basically sold out right around Easter. You could be charging easily 40, 45, even more than that. As high as Amazon's allowing you to list it without a high pricing here. Now, again, we're not necessarily trying to price gouge everyone. And, we're not trying to list this book that potentially can sell up to 35 to 40 for like $1,000. Be realistic with it. See, you push the boundaries, experiment with it, but also at the end of the day, Victor, you want to sell a book, right? You want to sell the book profitably, and you can sell it. Like if you're buying this book for $8, you can sell it for $29.99 and make a great margin on it. You don't necessarily need to push the envelope and try to go for 50, even though potentially you could get that sell and make an incredible margin. But
Yeah, just
Great book.
go buy another book, right?
Yeah.
That's how we do it. Yeah.
I thought this book was really interesting. Life as I know has been finger licking good. And the
Finger
reason
licking
why
good.
I want to show you is because this book did spike all the way up to an insane $460, right? And remember, just because a book can go that high doesn't mean it's actually selling. But if we look at this book over the last 3,000 days, right, you can see that clearly its lowest use price can get into the 30 range and have plenty of sales range drops, meaning the book is selling for at least $30 or more. But interestingly, Victor, you also notice at times it gets what, like to $2, $3,
$2 to $3 it would.
and we're kind of in a period where we're at about right around 740 all in shipping. And it's a book like if you look at last January, there are a couple sales range drops when the lowest use price was 120. So again, I'm not saying that you're going to sell for 120, but I'm telling you this book has historical precedence for selling in the 30s and higher than that at the lowest use price. So, you know, a book that you shouldn't be sleeping on either.
Like there's not much risk in these books, right? You're buying these for like $6, $7. You're just asking Amazon to hold on to them, and you're probably going to sell them between $30 to $40. And that's what we decided to make this video to show you, to showcase that BookMine will find you a ton of these deals out there. Right?
Yeah. Again, we spent about 5 minutes each finding these books. We only really looked through 30 books of the 200. So there's tons of other great books there that we just completely skipped over, right? Because this video would just be way too long. This next book, Capote Reader, potentially is what it is what it might be. It really popped off last February. Look at the sales rank getting incredibly low. Used prices getting into the 40s and even higher. The reason why I wanted to show this book, Victor, is actually for a teaching lesson. Notice how even though this book does have seasonality at the same time, it never really peaked. But what do you notice about how low the offer count got in this specific year?
Yeah, so slowly each year the used offer count kind of just started to drop a little bit more, a little bit more, and a little bit more, and finally it dropped enough that this last year it spiked. So that's actually really something you always want to track, because when you find a book that when the offer count is sensitive, like where the used offer count gets to a certain point that the price starts to spike, that's a book you want to track, because like, okay, so if I can find this book and this book stays at a certain like lower offer count and it then spikes, that's a book I want to buy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you can see right now today's offer count's 27. At the same day last year was at 35. So we're at a lower offer count than we were last year. And notice how well this book spiked. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend this particular book to buy it now, because a lot can happen over August, September, October, November, December. Like we're 7, 8 months away from when the book is has its repeatable season every year. And so because this book is really sensitive to the offer count, what I'd recommend, Victor, like Victor said, is tracking the book, coming back right around December or January and taking a look at what the offer count is. So notice that in December and January of last year, the offer count was right around the 25 mark, right, Victor? And then you can see it basically got down to 4 and it really popped off. If, let's say, you wait on this book, come back December, January, and the offer count's like 8, Victor, well, what are you thinking?
Oh my gosh. Go buy like 2 or 3 copies actually, because it's worth the risk then. That's definitely an amazing book. We're probably going to be in like the $60 range for this book.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So just remember, offer count's really important here. And these are all things that you'll learn through the process of going through the BookMine Academy, through your own process of buying books, learning from the mistakes that you make, learning from your successes, because again, you will have tons of successes. You will have some mistakes, fewer mistakes than successes for sure. But it's just all part of the process. And we really hope we showed you the power of these books. I mean, I think we actually showed you 10 or 11 books, Victor, but
I don't lost count, but at least 10. And each one of them making you at least $10. We just gave you guys $100 worth of value right there.
Yeah, there you go. And again, it didn't take us very long to do that. And we were specifically targeting books that are under $10. But remember that there's so many ways that you can use BookMine as source, right? You get to source books that are over $10. You get to source books that are $20 to $30. You get to source only high school books, only college books. There's so many different niches and avenues and ways that you can utilize BookMine. But I think this is a great way for you to get started, because you could have bought these 10 books for less than $100 and potentially made probably well over $100 profit.
Yeah.
Some of these are replens as well. Replens, books you can sell year in, year out. So,
and again, we only hit like the first page. There are two other books that we haven't even looked at yet. Right. Which is on there.
So if you guys want to try a free trial BookMine, you guys can do so using the link down below in the description. It's an absolute free trial. You can cancel before the trial it is over. But if you're a serious bookseller and you see the value in this, I don't see why you wouldn't, because that was pretty insane. So with that said, hope to see you guys in the next BookMine video. Have a good day, and
bye guys.